Alright, today we're going to be jumping back into the Bitcoin price action as well as some other charts because Bitcoin is just chopping sideways continuously, but it is starting to show much more strength, and in my opinion, we might see Bitcoin just continue on up here. We might not see that pullback, that retracement, but as always, don't be FOMOing and realize that a pullback is possible, and there is other possibilities that are more bearish. But as I've continued to say, my base case is that we're going to see a lot of euphoria going into election season, and we are going to see a massive rally very soon. So let's get into this. First off, you'll probably notice this chart's a little bit different. I cleaned it up actually in this morning's weekly meeting, which is part of my VIP group, which is kind of dying off, not gonna lie. So I think I need to mention it more in these videos if I do want people to join it. So if you do leverage trade, if you're interested in learning more about that and you actually want to get some good value, I do have trading guides, confluence trackers, etc. It's for you guys because the community was asking for some sort of VIP group where I did put in more effort. So if you want one-on-one time or just a bunch of other value outside of a signals group, because that is not what it is, go ahead and check that link, second link in the description down below. But yeah, essentially we marked out all of these levels. This is using a fixed range volume profile from back here at around February, and you go ahead, you get all these volume nodes, low volume gaps, and we actually don't have many low volume gaps, but it's mainly volume nodes, volume clusters. These boxes are marking out these entire nodes, whereas these dashed lines are the big points of control within the range, and then these little dotted lines are the sweep levels, the liquidity levels on the chart. When we zoom in here to the hourly time frame, you can see we have been chopping sideways, very tight price action within here because we are in this high volume node, right? This box right here is a weekly, daily, higher time frame, high volume node. So Bitcoin's struggling to get through this, but we are showing a lot of strength right now, and we have flipped the lower portion of that value into support, the macro point of control into support, and we are now testing the value area high. And I think assuming we can see the S&P have a clear breakout here, we can see the dollar potentially break down, which we'll get into in a second, that we could see Bitcoin have a pretty violent breakout without a retracement, and we could go ahead and shoot up to our next level of volume, 66,800, potentially a little bit higher into this big box of imbalance within the chart, this big inefficiency that we have. Would not be surprised to see Bitcoin launch up here, and then this will be the big deciding point. Can we flip that into support and then head on up and squeeze for all-time highs, or will this actually swing fail, right? This is the liquidity level that I have here. This dotted line could take that liquidity from a bunch of different points up here, but this whole box could be a big point of resistance. But yeah, essentially with the strength we're showing right now, I do expect us to get up there. Let's just see if it's a swing failure, maybe below this high here, maybe below some of these highs. Either way you put it, that is going to make a structural change on the chart. Even if we do have a bearish structure play out, probably going to see us go ahead and just do a retracement before blasting on up to all-time highs. And there is the very real chance that we do just start squeezing all the way up to all-time highs right now, and I would not be surprised to see that in the relatively short-term future. I think this sideways chop is building up a lot of energy to launch us out of this range, especially, like I said, depending on what our other charts say. But let's just assume the S&P goes down. Let's say that swing fails the highs, the dollar goes back up. We're just going to play devil's advocate here. Just so we can talk about these levels to the downside. We got some volume, $61,000, 59.5. 59.5 is actually a big level because you look out here on the weekly time frame, and let's pull up the visible range volume profile. Should already be up. Yep, there you go. We zoom all the way out here to cover actually 2020 as well, as we get all price action that has ever existed within this range on Bitcoin. And you do see this quite high volume node poking out there, and not only do you have quite a large high volume node on the macro time frame, if we pull swing low, swing high of where we currently are, that lands right at that golden pocket. There's also a sweep level that we can look at on the shorter term time frames. But yes, this 57.5 is the big level I would be watching out for if we do get a retracement. That's where I'm potentially looking for long positions. Although I'm bullish on price, I'm not long in the top. I will wait for a pullback. Might not get it though. We'll see what happens. We also had this liquidity level. You can see within here there's a lot of lows within here, right, that could potentially get swept. Another way to look at this is on a liquidity map. You can see these lows are making a very high liquidity node. So yeah, those are the levels, the upside and downside on Bitcoin. Now let's talk about what is going to impact which direction we go, and that's simply going to be the SP 500. Pretty much everything is correlated with this chart, and you do see looking very bullish here as well, touching up against all-time highs right now here on the chart, looking like it wants to sustain these prices, showing a lot of strength in the market right now, looking like it has back tested the all-time highs already, and this does not look like it is going to be a swing failure. This looks like it's going to be a proper breakout on the SP 500, and this certainly could be the final angle of attack that is going to launch us up into the final phases of the parabola before maybe a Great Depression does play out, a Great Recession does play out. Like I have been saying in some of my videos with the Fed cutting rates, that's not actually bullish, but immediately it can be. We can see this thing launch out to do a 70-degree plus angle of attack after this short consolidation period that we had been in. I guess actually it's kind of a longer consolidation period that we have had within here, but still maintaining those higher lows on the macro for sure. And I do think with what we are starting right now could be that final push up where stuff does just go parabolic across the board in all markets, because that is something we're seeing that is a little bit unique to right now compared to what normally goes on in the charts. Not only is the S&P breaking out to all-time highs, but we have gold going absolutely parabolic, and this could be another warning sign as to, hey, there is definitely a recession coming, because people are putting their money into precious metals, not just the S&P 500. Certainly a lot of distrust in the dollar right now, which we'll get into. The dollar is devaluing against other currencies, but a lot of money is flowing into gold right now, so it's an all-market rally. This is on a weekly time frame, macro breakout from the 2023 highs, and this thing has just gone ballistic. We're sitting at 2650 on gold. Might even hit $3,000 with how this is shaping up right now. Gold is certainly in price discovery right now, and we have no idea what it really should be valued at. And since Bitcoin has some of the same fundamentals as gold, I think there's a good case to be made. This is actually bullish for Bitcoin as well. But definitely a bit of a warning sign, right? People are putting their stuff into hard assets, not necessarily just risking it in lower cap stocks, but we do see lower cap stocks actually looking very, very nice. The Russell 2K has found support on this point of control, which is what we wanted to see. That's the point of control from previous bull market range back in 2020. Now that we have backtested that as support, we have already tapped the value area high 3 times. I think this final tap, assuming we come up here, is going to break, is going to flip into support, and we will see price discovery on the Russell signaling an altcoin season, which we're already starting to see play out. You look at stuff like Tau Batenzer. It's my favorite higher cap AI play, and yeah, that thing is up 200% in the last couple of weeks. You're starting to see some of these altcoins start ripping to the upside, and I think that's only going to get more violent, assuming the Russell can break out here. And now that we have the back test, it really should be up only from here on out, especially because not only has the Russell back tested, but you've also seen the altcoin market over here on Total 3 backtest this channel trend that we had been in, this downward sloping channel after bouncing out of the golden pocket. Now backtesting this channel should signal we can actually break through $620 billion market cap, assuming we can do that and backtest that. Then that is going to signal a rotation all the way to value area high at $1 trillion market cap, and potentially we even flip that into support and go on for a massive rally. We really could be at the beginning phases of our 2 to 3 to 4 month long altcoin season that could fractal something similar to what we had in 2020, albeit don't expect anything this crazy. I do think the law of diminishing returns is definitely going to play out here, especially just with the amount of money retail has in the market right now. I wouldn't get too carried away with it, but definitely extremely bullish. I think just coming up here, you're going to see some pretty epic gains in many of your assets, even just breaking all-time highs. You're going to see stuff do 10x's if we even just get a swing failure of that, which is kind of my most conservative case right now. So we'll see how this does play out. Let's go ahead and finish off with the dollar though, because the dollar is looking extremely weak right now. We talked about how these lows were pretty poor and we thought it'd eventually come down, and we are starting to see this definitely start to break structure. I do think we're going to see the dollar fall into no man's land and hunt down for much lower prices. We have this macro range we had been in for quite some time. This goes back all the way to the beginning of 2022, and I think we're about to see new lows on the dollar coming all the way down to test some of this down here at around 97, which is stuff we haven't seen since 2021, prices we haven't seen since that last bull run for crypto. So the stars really are aligned for us to start this epic rally sooner rather than later, and we should have some real exciting times ahead. But if you do have any questions about anything I talked about, or just want to join the community for this channel, link to my Discord is in the description down below. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, VIP Discord is below that, so if you want to keep that alive, go ahead and join it. It's 25% off right now because it is a work in progress. progress. I'm still adding a lot of stuff to it. Let me know in the comments if you wanted to join that, but you think it's too expensive or something. Give me some reasons as to why you might not want to join it, other than you just don't leverage trade, which obviously don't join it if you don't. And I actually don't recommend you leverage trade because it's deceivingly hard to do and you are going to lose a lot of money figuring it out, but you can actually figure it out and make some money, and that's kind of what the group is for, is to help you out with that process. But yeah, also down there, exchange partners, go ahead, check out the exchanges. They each have their own perks and benefits and exclusive rewards and bonuses if you use my referral links to sign up, so don't miss out on that. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.